This is the KCIW station. We thank our listeners for tuning in to 100.7. I am Amanda Whittemore. This is the Quality Living with Peaceful Support. It's quite a name, and it has a lot of purpose. It comes from a lot of different places that we may have not wanted to go, yet we learned some pretty important quality lessons. And we've also learned how to be there for others that have really difficult situations and present peaceful support. And I thought, if we're going to be asked to talk about something on the radio, why not let it be as positive as possible and as magnificent as we can make it? And so I really want to thank all the listeners and all the sponsors that make this radio station possible and give us the freedom and the ability to be who we are and amplify our true self and really be there for others is more so what it's about. And learning each show something new and different with a little bit more depth and a little bit more purpose and meaning of how we can really be there for others. And we typically bring in a guest. Today, we are very excited. We have a special guest, one that doesn't get a microphone, and one that does. And I will have Frank tell you all about it.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, I'm Frank Mallatt, and my companion with me is Red, my service dog, and the trainer for my training program that I do through SafTDog. SafTDog is the new business that we have here in Oregon, in Brookings and Southern Oregon, that we're offering service dogs as therapy. I have multiple dogs that are pre-trained to do just services and therapy for people as I train dogs for them individually or at any levels that they need. My original vision was to make dogs for children with autism as an adult with autism, to let children have a service dog in front of them and find their way out through their autism through the dog. We've had a few hiccups, but we've gotten ourselves back up and going here in Oregon, and we're very proud to start reaching out to our clients and clientele that are in need of us. And we have already started that by going to the farmers markets and such in Grants Pass. We'll be down in Ashland and any other place that wants to see us, at least before it gets too hot. And then we'll be working the coast probably for the rest of the summer.
Right.
But originally they were Critters for Service, and that's a California-based nonprofit 501c3.
Critters for Service?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Critters with a number 4 service.com is a website. We also have the SafTDog website, which is SafTDog.com. And at the moment, both of those will drop you off at Critters for Service, but you still get the idea of what we're doing.
Right.
One is a training program, and one is the actual dogs themselves. And then on the other sides, I'm doing a lot of hustling or entrepreneuring to keep the dogs together and keep us fed, as it were, until we can actually start to bring in enough donations and income enough that we can supply dogs to children at little to no cost, which is my original goal that we've been trying to strive to get back to for a long time.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm hearing that there are grants available. There's a grant writer in town, quite a few of them. And, with the service so magnificent as the one that you provide, there ought to be a plethora of grants.
Yes, I'm hoping that there is. I do need to bring in, I know my weaknesses at this point very well, and I need to bring in people to help me manage what I'm doing.
Okay.
So I can stay
Hear that,
focused with
listeners?
the dogs. And I'm also looking for like-minded, especially if I can find other people on the spectrum that would like to work with me.
Mm-hmm.
That is my long-term goal, because I at some point would love to hand this down so that it can continue to grow on its own. The uniqueness of the way we're doing it, plus the idea that one autistic person, no matter where they are on the spectrum, I'm actually pretty high on it, but just to give the dogs the exposure as they're being basically trained is so important, because they turn into service dogs.
Right.
They think it's normal. I mean, there's no deviation from that.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that I really do different, besides training as a group, which gives you lots of dogs that are ready for service as opposed to one dog that's ready for service.
Right.
I'm also told by other professional trainers that my dogs still have their original personalities intact, which is a lot of fun for young people, especially when you can match a dog's personality to the person's personality. So then you got a nice little gelling going on.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing like having a nice Frisbee dog when you want to play Frisbee, then have it there for your emotional support when you need it there.
Absolutely. Or cuddles are all the things that puppies do best. And tell the listeners, if you could, please, what type of dogs that you have?
My gene pool that I put together to make service dogs originally is standard poodles. I went to Nevada and had a really nice gentleman there help me put the dogs together, and we had to wait for Red to be born, basically. So I waited 2.5 years for Red, and in the meantime, Mom's current service dog was starting to pass, so I went and got I called it a knockoff dog, but she was so beautiful. She was just ecstatic. It was just, I can't describe it, but she was so helpful. But my dogs are poodles, double paper, double registered poodles.
Okay.
That I was using for service. The only reason I went so far down the bunny trail with the pedigrees and such was to be sure that nobody was interrelated. There's nothing that was going to even be close to mixing.
Right.
So the female that we originally made puppies with is Tammy. She was like an Afghan-looking older style poodle. Have you ever seen the old Beverly Hillbillies show?
Of course, yeah.
Those poodles that the Drysdales had.
Yeah.
That's what she looked like.
Okay.
Red is a very good example of a modern poodle.
Okay.
He's a little huskier, not fat, but just a little bit meatier. And yes, the expression is very, very expressionable face.
Hey, Red. He's very calm.
He is.
Just
he's
very
my
much
calming. Yes, he's my guy.
Yeah, very much at your side. Now, just very much in tune to, oh, you want to come say hi?
It's rarely get to the point that he knows I'm nervous, so he's cuddling to me.
Okay.
If he knows that I get into a situation to where I'm ticking, or very rarely I'll get to that point. Or another one I do is get in a conversation, then don't stop. I get nervous and just kind of.
Well, that's great here on the KCIW. We love that.
It's great for radio, but not so good for somebody that just wants to walk away. Somebody just asks me, how you doing, and wants to go. There's times.
Well,
But that's what Red's incredible about.
Good.
He will actually be like, give me a little nudge, like, hey.
Oh, Red. Well, here on the Quality Living Show, we purposely designed it that way because so many times you just have 5 minutes at the grocery store, or you're in and out at the parking lot, or you just don't. We got so much in our schedule, we barely give ourselves enough time to go to the bathroom or in between shows, let alone to really sit down and just learn about somebody. Mm-hmm. So we like to know how did you find Brookings, or did Brookings find you?
Brookings, to be honest with you, was kind of my escape when I was working with the dogs and where we had ended up. I didn't quite bring this up yet. I started taking care of my mom 25 years ago, and took care of her for 21 years. Mm-hmm. She had a 90-second memory, and I took her from a care home facility, gave her the quality of life to want to be able to go out dancing like 2 or 3 times a week.
Oh, man.
But she had a 90-second memory, so she could go out dancing and will dance her little butt off, but in between songs not know who she even came with. It took her a year to learn my name, and I'm her son.
Oh, how fun.
It was interesting. We both really, really blossomed over those 20 years, or 21 years. And the only thing that we really needed was to have, which is my gift with animals, was to train animals to keep an eye on her, to treat her with as if she's a regular person, but yet be there when she needed them. And I had her dog would walk her across the street. It looked like she was holding it with a leash around her wrist, but it was actually, the dog was tethered.
Oh, okay.
And the dog would stop for traffic, look for lights,
oh my goodness.
Everything. The dog was just incredible. And that was my first dog.
Whoa, that is impressive.
Yeah, he was pretty cool.
That is a ton of work.
And then here we are 20 plus years later, and Red is that and that much more. I have video of him teaching the first litter of puppies the fenceless boundaries of our yard, keeping the puppies inside the yard the whole time.
No way.
was there for me. I mean, he was like, this is what you need. This is what I'm going to do.
Okay.
And I've also never seen a male dog that was so enamored with her own puppies.
Oh.
Not just trying to off them so he get to the female again. He just wanted to be with his babies.
Oh.
Yes, and that's the ones that he still works with.
That is the cutest ever. Well, thank you for your service, Red. That is quite mighty of you. Very admirable.
He's so beneficial for training other dogs and animals as well.
Nice.
Yeah, he's just a lot of fun. We do a lot of ambassador stuff.
Okay, so so let's say a person hears about you and they're seeking a service dog, or they're seeking support, or how does that happen?
Clumsily at the moment, but it does happen. I generally try and triage to see what they're needing or what they're able to do. A lot of it's a lot easier if somebody's conducive to training themselves, because then I can get them on board and nudge them in the right direction, give them a few lessons, and then take via messenger or however we communicate, keep them going so that when there is hiccups, they can be taken care of and dealt with and move forward again. It's kind of a new way of training dogs, and the concept is, it's so unique. Even for me, I'm looking forward to, while I was waiting for the station to start our conversation here today, I met a gentleman who works for one of the other dog companies.
Oh, really?
Him and his wife. Yeah, they used to supply puppies, and now they're actually training puppies.
Oh, really?
And they're going to get a hold of me and volunteer for me when they give their dog up. Oh. And that's wonderful, or at least in theory.
Of course.
It was the husband trying to make sure his wife's covered.
Yeah.
But in that case, that way the dogs get to... I get to meet and greet and learn how other dogs are trained, and compare it to mine.
Right, like a networking formula.
Yeah, to a certain point. And I'm glad it was coming up now, as opposed to, I didn't want it in the beginning because I wanted to see, because I was having no problems. The dogs were coming out, everything was working.
Yeah.
I don't want to confuse myself by going, oh, this is the other way.
Right.
Originally, my plan was just to copy any other dog company and make them one at a time and drop the dogs off for kids.
Oh, okay.
COVID hit.
Oh, yeah.
My first litter was Kaibash, so we ended up keeping it, and that's what I ended up coming up with an idea for training them to do therapy. And we've pretty much been doing that ever since. We have multiple newscasts that have been done on us, and I train them literally out of the back of a SUV at farmers markets with our target audience coming to visit with the dogs. We would put the word out, autistic children would show up, we would be... and then I chase everybody else away, because once we get a target person there, it's not, it's no longer a photo booth. It's now...
Right, a service session.
Yeah, it's a service session, and the dogs get to have that experience.
Oh, wow.
And it's so unique, because with the different personalities, one dog will be really into what the child's doing, or the child will have a little tick, and one of the other dogs will competitively figure out what it is and want to
how nice.
Join in with the child.
Right.
We had all the dogs lined up at the back of the vehicle, and a child was just giggling, walking the length of the dogs and back. And once the dogs caught on to what he was doing, they were each trying to give him a little kiss as he went by. And it was just so cute. And that's
precious.
It is. And it's one of those things that, it's the moment.
It is.
I've learned to live in the moments.
Then that's what it's all about. KCIW listeners, if you're just tuning in, we have Frank here with us, and he has SafTDog.com, SafTDog.com, and provides service dog animals. And we on the Quality Living Show like to ask our guest Frank, when you hear the word quality living, what does that bring up to you?
Quality living, a balance, a healthy balance, that you can enjoy life as well as experience life.
Oh, yeah.
It's something I try and shoot for.
Right.
But being autistic, there's times that you really have to take what you got. And I've learned to make lemonade, and I enjoy my lemonade at this point in life.
Yeah. Did you have different flavors of it even?
Oh, yes. We had lots of different flavors. We even had some California flavors, but I think we'll leave that for another show.
Okay. Sure.
But it's good. Quality of life. I'm not really good at giving a good answer for that, I guess.
No, that's one of, that's
enhancing the quality of life of my mom was one thing that I really found unique, and seeing that and her growing from that, even inside of her 90 seconds at a time, was incredible.
Did it get more space in between it, or did it just stay like that was just what it was?
No, the timing was pretty set in itself, but her having the comfort of things that she knows, even though the 90 seconds changed, she gets that layout that is still there. Like she got to where the dogs were a standard.
Okay.
So that became a baseline.
Right.
Having the dogs there, the more animals I surrounded her with, the more calmer and okay she was with it. That's kind of why we went so overboard at that one point with animals. But it was for a reason, and her quality of life was so blessed by it.
Nice.
She just loves animals to death.
That's a lot of really important special work and devotion, and to me it sounds like entirely purest of peaceful support also, which is another question we like to ask, is where do you find peaceful support in the world other than the services that you do or incorporated with the services that you do? How do they amplify each other? Where in the world do you see peaceful support?
Besides my own?
Yeah, because it's obviously the exact definition of it.
Yeah, it is. And it's really a tough one for me because I'm so used to having them now that they are my peace. They are my support. This guy here is my world. If I'm not feeling good and can't get out of bed, he literally will just come and snuggle with me until I feel better.
Good.
Yeah, which is pretty incredible. I had went through a bout of the where you can't keep your equilibrium working correctly.
Okay.
To where you have the dizziness, and it was pretty serious. I was down for almost 2 or 3 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was barely able to get up enough to use the restroom or, fumble my way to the restroom and back.
Right, yeah.
And he was there the whole time. Didn't complain about nothing. It was just, it was tough. But finding a peaceful place other than that, I find the redwoods completely peaceful. I love nature. I love going out with wildlife and such like that. I try not to get too close to the wildlife because I have realized recently that my gift with animals does transfer over to wildlife.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and you don't want to get the little wild critters coming up going, hey, what are you about?
Right, exactly. How are you doing? We
spent a year with the dogs in the woods above the Klamath River, and lots of wild animals, lots of wildlife, and a bunch of wild poodles. We had a lot of fun. We had a little over 5 acres that we were able to run, and I would say that's probably one of the most peaceful places I've found, aside from the hooping and hollering every once in a while, but other than that, it was pretty nice. Because we were so remote, right up against the Native Americans there.
Okay.
And it was unique.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and the river, just the only thing that I didn't like was when the river comes up.
Right. Yeah, it's always depending on where you're located.
Yeah, it was about 2 feet from getting our toes wet the first year we were there. That was a little unnerving because I was just like, okay, I'm just going to sit in here and nothing's going to happen. We're going to ride it out, as it were. And then when I realized that how close we were to getting the water just to rush right through us, that
wild.
Yeah, we're a little better prepared the next rain.
Nice. And so, okay, our listeners can find SafTDog.com, obviously on the internet. How else? I've seen you driving around town, and whenever I see the car, some people, I guess they just, whenever they see you, you're approachable and...
I am for the most part. I try to be, which has been it's unique for an autistic person because my main goal has never been to really get surrounded by people and have people come running at us as they do when I'm with the dogs. But I do realize that I'm also the ambassador for what I'm doing, and nobody else is going to do what I'm doing for the dogs unless I stand up and say something. So I've accepted it. I deal with it. And then recently I realized that it has benefited me so much because without that pushing me outside of my box, I would be closed in more, you know, looking at things, keeping a distance, keeping a plexiglass between me and the world.
In a whole different way. Yeah.
And just because that was what I would think to be normal, you know. And when mom was healthy and alive, I was taking her out dancing every day. I had her in shape to where she could out dance at 3-band festival and be pissed that they stopped playing music.
I love it.
But not know who she came with between songs. It was so unique. But I digress. I'll ask where's that?
Yeah. Yeah. Where?
To reach me, you're more than welcome to contact. If you go to SafTDog.com, it's going to take you to Critters for Service for the moment until we get the website corrected. But Critters for Service and SafTDog have a lot of things in common. The information, the phone numbers, the messaging right directly off the website will even work.
Okay.
So if you go to SafTDog.com, you will end up at CrittersForService.com at the moment.
Okay.
But we're all the same.
Yeah, okay. That's good. That's good to let our listeners know that it is the same action that they're getting.
Yes. And when you do see us out and about, we have got since we've gotten our insurance, we've been going out and doing some introductions, a little bit of fundraising. We do a photo booth. I think you came by the other day and noticed that. And especially when we're out and about with a sign on the car, we definitely want to talk about it. And especially if you know anybody that has autism, special needs, they're more than welcome to stop by. They are my target audience. I will completely make sure that the way is clear for them. They will have no issues with other people around, other than the dogs. The dogs definitely want to have a few minutes with them. And
so how does the service, do they get to have the dog? Do they rent the dogs? Do they get to have them? Or do you come with the dog? Yes. These guys that I have with me are for therapy. Okay. Generally, they do have a handler with them. They go to different locations. Like we just started putting out some flyers to go to care homes and different things like that. To keep them in practice, plus to give some support back. Because it's needed, it really is. And these guys are very, very good at what they do. They like old people as much as they like young people. Okay. And their behavior changes as they go. Oh. Yeah, I don't have any of my media with me to show you, but we do have video of them working with children or working with adults. It's just, do you have that on YouTube? We do have some stuff on YouTube. There's a little bit on the website as well. If you go to the media section. I'll be updating that within the next week or two. But all right, yeah, it'll give me a little motivation. Yeah, right, exactly. It's something to look forward to. Because people love to see that, and it inspires them to maybe reach out or contact somebody that they've forgot about that really does need somebody to come. And so is it like an hourly base or if it's a meet and greet type thing, we generally give as much time as the person needs. Okay. Like we used to go down to Humboldt County to Trinidad, and we'd sit there at the Beachcomber Cafe with friends of ours, and very sweet. They loved when Mom and me used to go there. So I continued to go there even after Mom had passed, just for the dog's sake and such. And a lot of tourists would come by. Okay. And a lot of people that were out on vacation, they're bringing their special needs person with them. And the special needs person has had to leave everything they normally would have to keep them calm or normal or give their quality at home, including their pets. Right. Or their service animals. I ran into one gentleman that just happened to be stopping by with his mother, and he had left his service animal at home because they couldn't travel with it. And it was just, they were just so animate about, I'm so glad you're here. This is such a big thing for him. Yeah. And with my Forrest Gump kind of life, I was just like, okay, it's whatever. It's meant to be, we'll do it. And we ended up seeing them on the start of their vacation, and then ended up seeing them on the finish of their vacation. And they just happened to be traveling from one end of the country and then back. Just perfectly lined up. Yeah, it just, it was meant to be. Yeah. And it was a nonverbal gentleman that was just enamored. Yeah, I just basically shoot everybody away, and he had our complete time, virtually the whole time we were there. That is just, I mean, divine timing on top of, sacred gifts that come through the animal and from your teachings and experience that, you go out there and it's brave for them to make it that far on their journey too, and to realize no matter where they go, that support's going to be there for them in some shape or form. That's really reassuring.
Yeah, it is. And it's sometimes, I mean, I know for myself personally, not so much for this gentleman, but sometimes it's good to be taken out of your normal to find your new normal.
It's true. They say when we're nervous or when we're scared, it's because something really magical and really awesome is about to happen.
Yes, I've run into that one a lot. That's why I call my life a Forrest Gump life at this point, because I have negative things that I think are negative, and then I have to stop myself, back up, and go, well, wait, that just means there's something positive that's going to be here.
Right.
It's meant to be,
Yeah, we have a saying in the permaculture world, the problem is the solution. Because, you have this big problem that's so negative, it's so this, that, or whatever. But then when you look at it, you realize it's telling you the answer. It is saying what the solution is.
Yeah. That's after 20 years of taking care of my mom, being out of the normal work environment. That's what got me into thinking on my own and doing the entrepreneurial thing a little bit, mostly to distract me from taking care of my mother.
Right.
But to see that and have the timing be so different. I mean, I can at times, not all the time, but at times you can see that coming around the corner. Be like, oh, there it is. Why didn't I ever notice that before? And I'm like, oh, maybe because I'm working 9 to 5 and worried about my next 15-minute break.
Exactly. And it's very admirable to take a moment to enjoy that bit of quality and to just, we thank you for the peaceful support that you gave to your mother and to others that have taught you to have this service for everybody. It's very admirable.
It comes with its own benefits. I really I'm happy.
Good.
Yeah,
well, we thank you
happy.
kindly.
You bet.
And we will probably like to do an update and see how this entrepreneurship, how it goes, maybe 6 months or something from now. And perhaps maybe we could even bring in a guest who has benefited or from the work that you connect with. And we would love to have the listeners hear more about the service dog, or the group of service dogs and all their adventures. So keep us updated.
Okay, I'll be glad to.
All right. Thanks for coming in today, Frank. And again, we can find these service animals, the lovely, cutest little poodles in the world, at SafTDog.com, SafTDog.com. And again, KCIW listeners, thank you kindly.